coming up on this episode of Lust to Dust.
How is this the chapter right after the Christian pastor? Now I'm in a scantily clad bar with women and squirt
If
guns.
Anthony still has a job, this should prove why you should. Welcome back to From Lust to Dust. I am Brett Dodenhoff.
I'm Connor Dodenhoff.
Today on the podcast, we got a special guest. We have our brother, Alex Dodenhoff. Alex, how we doing?
I'm here to set the record straight in a very real way.
Al has been producing the podcast. He's been a great help to us. But Alex, I don't think he quite absorbed our father's pressures of his dating life as Brett and I did.
I can't play back a lot of these stories the way you guys can, but in an interesting twist of fate, and perhaps I'm doomed by this eternally, I was more impressed upon by these same experiences. Some of my dating patterns rhyme with a lot of what we've been reading.
Even though you maybe didn't experience as much of our dad just by the amount of years you had with him, you did come out as more alike him maybe in personality than Brett and I did.
And I've been hearing that my whole life.
You're the most like him, absolutely. And
which is bizarre in a way.
You probably never had the change in relationship with him that Connor and I did, where at a certain point, you can kind of throw his bullshit back at him in a way that you can kind of tango a little bit.
Oh, I never had that.
No, you were still the pancake press.
Well, there's the 3 layers of fatherhood. First one's you're Superman. Second one, you're Batman. Fewer superpowers, but you're still the hero of the story.
I like that.
And third one,
What is that?
You're the villain.
You're the villain.
You're the Joker.
You're the Joker.
When is that? When they
never
give
saw
all their
that.
money to the stepmom?
Oh, yeah. When he starts bringing around.
I like that. Dads go from Superman to Batman to
Joker.
I think Bob was a excellent, formidable year's father. I
couldn't
don't
agree
think
more.
he really knew how to handle teenagers well.
No. Once his word was contested in a way that he wasn't expecting, he fell apart.
This reminds me, harkens back to folding his undies. We would do his laundry.
There's a very unique thing about folding another man's under.
Oh, he was a tighty-whitey guy.
Yeah.
And no one wants to fold a tight
That's what I'm saying.
Is that why he never got laid? First couple episodes.
Yeah, man, you're right.
He was wearing, because he did switch to boxers.
You're right.
Every time he'd get ready to get laid, and they'd be like, everything's pointing to it. And then he pulls down his pants, and the woman sees, oh my God, the man I was thinking about having sex with is wearing, the tightest of whiteys.
Yeah.
They were.
You're with a beautiful woman. You pull your pants down. You got a pair of Hanes on. Give
And
it
the
up.
doctor, when he was getting his vasectomy, they said, your sperm count's already nothing the way you're constricting your package.
They go, Bob.
Just keep these on.
Bob,
Christ.
you've been infertile for years.
It's the best contraception I've ever seen.
It's you're smooth.
They go, Bob.
You're
That's
a Barbie.
vagina, Bob.
It's nothing. It's you've been foot bounded yourself with tighty whities. I think that's why I never got laid. The woman would take one look at that. One thing, it's bad to see tighty whities, but I can only imagine the horror as this woman sees tighty whities with an absolute erection point now.
Yeah.
That's a horror film.
Yeah,
That's a
pitching
horror
tent in
film.
a pair
I
of
can't
tidy
put
whities.
myself in a woman's mind for this.
You also know they were tight enough where it probably was like there was probably 3 inches of boner and then 3 to, or who knows how big of to the side. Because I'm saying they were tight enough.
What type of penis are you describing?
I'm talking about one that's been jammed foot bound by tighty whities.
Oh, I see.
I'm saying he would be erect.
An unnatural
And
curve.
then it would have to, she would go, what the hell L-shaped Tetris penis is this? But it's because the tighty whities would force it and conjure it
Tetris penis.
into a different shape.
Tetris penis.
Tetris penis.
Yeah.
So I bet a woman, she saw 2 things. 1, it's a man with tighty whities. 2, there's a man with a trapezoid penis.
Yeah.
It's like, how's that even going to fit?
Last episode, Alex, we talked about Taylor. Our dad was driving up. He was going down on her.
Right.
And she wasn't reciprocating. You like going down on a woman. Our father really loves it.
Not where this is going.
Our father really loves it.
I'm going to just say the apple don't fall far from the tree.
Apple don't fall. That's all you need to say, pal. So I think, guys, let's get into it. Let's start this next new chapter.
We've got Chuck and Anthony's
Chuck
our
and
next
Anthony
chapter,
is up.
Alex.
So Chuck is returning, as we know.
Chuck is back.
Chuck's our somewhat quiet friend.
The silent killer.
The silent killer Chuck.
Yeah.
But an online demon. Loves online dating.
All right. Let's read about Chuck and Anthony, all right?
All right, let's kick it off. Chuck and Anthony.
It was clear that Chuck and I needed some alternatives to random bar interactions if we wanted to meet suitable single women. One morning, I called Chuck with an idea. Chuck, we need to contact the singles pastor at my church. There's tons of talent there.
Hold up. Okay, hold on.
Little context, we grew up going to a sort of mega church.
It goes without saying for most viewers, this isn't your typical church.
We're talking people became Christian 4 or 5 months before, maybe even the night before.
It was also, there's plenty of normal families that go to. Listen, also, no church should have a singles
That's kind of my
pastor.
point. Yeah.
I'm matchmaking.
Starting about 7 years ago, my ex-wife and I began attending a non-denominational church in Mount Pleasant. Due to its modern approach, the church was becoming wildly popular. The congregation was young and hip, and they had a substantial singles program. Chuck agreed to the idea, so I made a phone call to Anthony, the singles pastor, and told him about our recent divorces. He was empathetic and interested to meet us, so we set up a lunch for later that week. After beginning our meals and exchanging small talk, I got right to the point. Anthony, here's what I'm looking for in a woman. Very good looking, about 30 to 40, no preference on a hair color, good figure, intelligent. Whoa, protested Anthony. Bro, slow down. Slow way down.
All about the vanity with him. It's all about the looks. He wants the young girl, whatever. And this guy's like, dude, this is a church, man.
Yeah.
Like,
You
know,
don't lead with that.
Yeah,
Good figure.
good figure.
But don't
yeah.
worry, no preference on hair color. That's where he thought. He goes,
Yeah.
at least I'm not too picky.
I mean, this is like going to McDonald's telling them how you want your burger cooked. You know, this is a mismatch.
I also think it's funny how Anthony is doing the whole bro language.
If an employee of the church says bro, you might be in the wrong place.
And when we say pastor, we don't mean white collar in the black gown.
No, we're talking, this guy's
This
got an
guy's
Ed
in a
Hardy
Fish
shirt.
t-shirt.
No, Anthony's a born-again Christian, you know?
Yeah.
Man, I thought, what an idiot. I've offended the hell out of him. He's probably going to give me a lecture about how all of God's people are beautiful.
His response is going to be about how everyone's God's children.
Everyone's
Bob,
God's
you should be
children.
getting a humble woman, you know? It doesn't matter what she looks like. You know, and Anthony's sitting here with the dragon tattoo he's covering up in his Ed Hardy shirt, and he's going, we may be in maybe a little boomerang.
I didn't mean to give you a laundry list, I said apologetically. No, bro, not that. You dudes have to slow way down, he said. Bro, I recommend to some dudes that they don't even have a luncheon date for the entire first year after their divorce. I was now really perplexed, but at least I hadn't offended him. Dudes, there's a ton of emotion going on here, he said. You've got to take it major slow. Right now, you bros are in total pain, and all you can think about is getting out of this pain.
Bob's writing this guy like he's, a surf instructor you'd find in Costa Rica.
I wonder if he told Pastor Anthony about his couple experiences that he's already had. If Anthony
was really privy to what Bob's been doing. I don't think he'd be invited to church next Sunday.
Man, he was dead right, I thought. Ever since I left my wife, I felt an amazing compulsion to get rid of these feelings. My emotional state was a mixture of emptiness and doubt. All of this together meant one thing: find a relationship fast.
So this is a big moment for Bob.
I think someone's labeled a feeling he has that he just wasn't privy to.
It's amazing that good intention advice could potentially have planted the seed that he shouldn't settle down.
What he extrapolates from him is probably not the exact message that he was meant to hear.
Exactly.
I think Bob sees this as almost divine.
Ultimately, what Anthony's saying here is not what he takes to
Exactly.
That's what I'm
advice
saying. He's not listening.
and changes
Yeah.
it.
That's the
His
definition.
interpretation is already wrong.
Dudes, know this, he continued. 80% of divorced men get remarried within 2 years, and it's not because they magically meet the woman of their dreams. Far from it. It's because they can't stand the pain, and they'll do anything to get rid of it, including making the terrible mistake of marrying the wrong woman. Bros, you guys need to chill for a long while.
What do we think it says either about his faith or his relationship style or just his sheer horniness that he's coming to the church after 3 sexual escapades and not as a first stop? Hey, pastor, I'm going through this divorce. Can you help me out?
That's a good point, because he's not coming here right after the divorce. He's coming here after 2 months of rather
And why did
being
he come here?
unsuccessful. Yeah,
He's coming here because there's hot women at the church.
exactly.
We do need to say here that Anthony's coming from a godly perspective. Bob is sitting here going, but he's shocked that he got some advice from this guy.
You know, I went to the church matchmaker and I got a sermon.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, can you believe it? The guy had advice.
He was so right, I thought. Why didn't I see this guy the minute I left my wife? I've been possessed to quickly find another woman, and I didn't even know why. As we drove away from the lunch, I felt a new sense of clarity and relief. Chuck, what an unbelievable lunch. Here we are running around like zombies and not even knowing the reason why. Chuck nodded in agreement. Yeah, very cool, he replied.
You think it's possible? Anthony was sitting here going, it's possible Chuck and Bob are, Chuck might be Bob's,
Chuck's Bob's beard.
he goes,
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. Is, hey, I know what's going on here. You got
Yeah.
the silent type, and you got the talker.
Oh, goodness.
I
Listen,
know what's
Bob,
going on here.
Bob, I know you want lots of hot women.
Yeah. Bob. You know that.
Less than a week later, Chuck met a girl named Sophie online. He dated her the next night, Friday, and then the next 4 nights in a row. In fact, he never left her side after that. Not kidding here. He may have gone to the store once in a while, but I don't think he ever left her for more than an hour or 2 at a time. They married 6 months later.
All right. So,
No, biggest timeout there ever was in
I'm
this
sorry.
book.
Anthony's directive was to not jump into a relationship.
Yeah.
Chuck clearly wasn't listening.
That's what I'm saying.
Chuck jumps in day 3.
Chuck heard one too many bros. And Chuck goes, I got to do the exact opposite of this guy's advice.
Chuck went atheist the day after that meeting.
That was a lot. Chuck learned a lot. One, that God's not real. That was his biggest takeaway.
Chuck went, this ain't for me.
Chuck marries 6 months later. Bob has no wingman. Wow. Really, what I think he's hearing from Anthony here, which is not at all what Anthony was saying, is go wild, go on dates, live it up because you don't want to go make a mistake.
There's an argument Anthony really is responsible for this book.
I'd argue that too.
Anthony did say slow down.
Anthony's directive was positive. I just think our father misinterpreted it, or
But that's on
skewed it-
Anthony.
He skewed it in his preferred direction.
Anthony's one of those, he's got a big paintbrush and he just hopes that he gives the right advice.
Yeah.
He's the sort of guy that would look at a base jumper in the eyes and said, you got to take more risks in life, man.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't assess the situation.
Honestly, Anthony seems a bit of a contrarian. You could come with you could come to anything with Anthony. He's telling you. You come with red. He's
Well, I'll tell
telling you blue.
I'll tell you. He has to say something because
Or else that's how he earns his money.
yeah,
you have to give
the
advice.
singles pastor. If the church starts dipping, I mean, the first thing to go is singles pastor.
Yeah,
if the
singles
church is
pastor.
going, oh God, I'll tell
Yeah.
you, this is pre-08.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you, once the
No.
checks that were getting sent to the church started falling, Anthony was out of a job.
I'll bet the guy who comes in and goes, Anthony, I'm going to kind of wait a year before I go on my first lunch. And Anthony goes, bro, you need to be dating 3 times a
get
month.
married. 80% of men never find a wife. He uses that 80% however the hell he wants.
It's 80% this or 80%
Yeah.
that. They call him 80% Anthony at the church.
80% Anthony.
Bob just lost his wingman, which leads us to the next chapter, wingmanless again.
All right, we get a rare breed today. We're going to do another chapter, wingmanless.
But yeah, he's lost Chuck, so he is wingmanless. He's defining it as he is. He has no one to go out with anymore. So let's see what he does.
Thanks to Anthony, I now had a new perspective on my emotional state. Chuck had clearly found his match, but I kept the single rituals alive. One night several weeks later, I had a flicker of hope. I had heard of a bar where female bartenders danced in a provocative fashion while spraying the crowd with squirt guns. Did I think a crazy place like this would be ideal for finding the woman of my dreams? Obviously no. But in any case, I thought I'd at least have a fun experience. I arrived around 10, and the place was packed with a crowd of great-looking, albeit younger women in their mid to late 20s.
This is a 45-year-old man's idea of a night out. The Squirt Gun Club downtown.
This is not the advice Anthony gave.
Yeah.
You got to try this place uptown.
Bro,
How is this the chapter right after the Christian pastor?
I went to the Christian
Anthony
pastor.
gave me good advice. Now I'm in a scantily clad bar with women and squirt
If
guns.
Anthony still has a job, this should prove why you should. You can't sit down with the singles pastor and then catching, shots of Jose Cuervo out of a plastic squirt gun.
I'd love if he walked into the men's bathroom here and saw Anthony ripping a line off the toilet seat.
Yeah. Bro, 80% of these toilet seats clean as hell.
The juxtaposition of this coming after the church chapter is so crazy. He goes from, I want to find a good woman, and now he's in the mid to late 20s bar with the squirt guns.
But here I was. There's a lot of these, but here I was anyways moments.
There's no
throughout the whole
But
book.
here was my thinking. It's just like, no,
As I drank my beers, the crowd cheered the bartenders on. Feeling brave, I struck up a conversation with a beautiful young girl named Lee, who looked to be in her mid-20s. Lee was brash, and when the female bartenders jumped on the bar to dance, she elected to do the same. Lee had a large chest, but also a magnificent butt, perfectly highlighted in her tight jeans. As she danced, she glanced down every so often to see me returning my gaze to her sensually gyrating body. The sight of her dancing was more than enough to pique my interest, but I was nervous that she'd think I was too old for her. In spite of my fear, she willfully gave me her number.
She willfully gave me her number.
I'm sorry, if you're anyone, woman or man, over early 20s getting on top of the bar dancing,
Right.
you're an alcoholic. There's no question about it.
He's identified a girl who probably in a year or two is going to recognize she's got a drug problem or an alcohol problem. And she's going to find God. So
She's one day going to meet Anthony. She's going to go, Anthony, I'm telling you, I was sitting there and I literally gave a 45-year-old man my number. She, in a weird way, Anthony wasn't meant to speak to Bob. Bob was a conduit to get to Lee.
we've learned in a few chapters, Bob has more or less been a rock bottom for a few women. And when you're everyone's rock bottom, that means you're a crustacean. You're sitting at the bottom of
I
the ocean.
hope Lee did not go home with Bob here because, at whatever age she is, she would have seen tighty whities.
Yeah.
And we just need to go ahead and that's a horrifying moment.
Yeah. You're already rock bottom with the age group. Then you're rock bottom with a man in tighty whities. That's horrifying.
It's really dark.
That's you call it. That she's calling her parents back in Des Moines just weeping.
Yeah. Her dad just knows. They haven't heard from Lee in about a year and a half. She didn't come home for Christmas. And he goes, literally the dad just picks it up. Were they Haynes? He goes, Fruit of the Loom or Haynes?
Wow.
He goes, I just placed a call to a church in town. There's a nice pastor named Anthony. He wants to talk to
Anthony's going
you.
to talk to you. Lee?
He said there's an 80% chance things will turn around if you get over there.
80%. Anthony's 80%. He promised me 80% chance you'll be good.
The next day, she accepted my call, and we agreed to go to dinner. 2 nights later, I was sitting in an elegant restaurant with Lee enjoying a romantic dinner for 2. The contrast between her and me, however, was significant. I chose to be totally honest with her and not hold anything back. I wasn't stupid enough to talk about my ex-wife, but I did talk about raising 3 boys. She, on the other hand, was 27, had never been married, and didn't have children. With such dramatic differences, was it actually possible that she could be romantically interested in me? No, it wasn't.
He lied to Taylor about his age.
Right.
By 10 years.
By 10.
And he goes, you know what? I can't do that this time.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know what? I'm going to be honest. She's 27. And I think you know what? He was honest to Taylor in the end. And I think he felt pretty good about it.
He's not really found yet a cadence and a language to talk to women yet. And that has been a problem so far with him is like, what do I communicate? Do I talk about the boys? Do I talk about my ex-wife?
Yeah, he hasn't found a way to talk about it. He claims, I wasn't stupid enough to talk about my ex-wife, but he was smart enough to talk about his 3 boys. So,
Right.
Yeah, ex-wife is the far more tolerable thing.
It was a miscalc. It was a big
The
miscalc.
miscalculation here is shocking.
Brett is going to read this next paragraph.
After we finished our meal and were walking to a nightclub, I tried to kiss her. Instead of reciprocating, she leaned away. Look, we're at really different stages in life, she began. You've already lived the dream that I want. I want to get married. I want to start a family. You've already been there. She was, of course, correct. There was no use in arguing. I know, I lamented, feeling deflated. You're totally right. Well, I do like you, and you're a really nice person, she said. She was not only very attractive, but intelligent, lots of fun, and had a great sense of humor. Okay, I agree. Maybe we could be good friends then, I asked. Yeah, I'd love that. We can hang out and have fun, she said. Excellent, then. Well, perhaps just one kiss to start out a relationship off, right? I asked, smiling and leaning in. For another try? No, came her simple reply with a wide smile. She leaned back to avoid my advances. Damn. Oh, okay, I said, returning the smile with a hint of disappointment. We can just hang out. And so we did. Okay.
I think what's funny is we're kind of hating on Lee and saying she's the wild alcoholic girl at the bar. And I think maybe she was just having a fun night. She gave her number to a guy she probably thought was more in the 35 range.
I bet she was like, this guy's here contextually. Maybe he looks a little young.
Probably thought.
Yeah.
35, maybe wants to settle down, start a family.
Yes.
He comes in and says, oh, I'm divorced.
Hey, I'm 10 years
I just
past
dropped
that.
my
There
kid
you
off
go.
at the science fair.
Yeah.
You know? It's just it wasn't her expectation. So no hate to Lee at all.
And so we did. Not only with Lee, but also with her best friend Maria, age 27, equally beautiful and delightful to be around. In a short time, both became good hangout buddies. Occasionally, we'd meet at my condo to hit the pool, and I'd try desperately to remind myself that neither was available, while casually observing them in their bikinis. We'd have drinks, talk about their career aspirations, and occasionally discuss how their boyfriends were treating them. And honestly, their company was a delightful respite in this frustrating quest to find the right girlfriend for me.
Wow.
So he's kind of replaced Chuck with 2 women in their 20s.
Which I think
I don't hate.
I think this is kind of a nice little, I think it's just going to give him just some female time.
Yeah.
And hearing on the relationship side. Obviously, he's not hearing the perspective of the women that he probably should be with. But at the same time, I kind of like this 45-year-old man. He's got 2 women your age, Al, and he's kind of cool with it. He's probably a little bit sugar daddying here. Let's be honest. Hang out at the pool.
Oh, big time. And this has happened more than a few times on this episode and before, but the apple don't fall far from the tree.
In what regard?
I've pulled a Bob here.
Turned a
Rejected
failed relationship into a friendship.
Turn a failed relationship into something.
Were you rejected?
Being rejected is the seed of a better relationship than the opposite. There's no question about that.
Then you reject someone and then make
Big time, yeah. If you can put it aside yourself.
I've not done very much of this. I find that it's hard sometimes to go on a relationship or a date and then parlay that rather into a friendship. I think people idealize that and they say, "Oh, well, let's just be friends." But
I like the idea. I never knew how to. The problem is, I would never know how to follow up and be like, we should be friends.
Well, Al, as we wrap up, you said the apple doesn't fall far from the tree with regards to many of the behaviors you see, from reluctance to get in a relationship to, like you said, befriending women. Mm-hmm. How else might you define the apple doesn't fall far from your sexual proclivities?
Well, it's all unraveling in real time, and I'm kind of having a come to Jesus moment, if you will, where I'm going, boy, yeah, I wasn't expecting it to ring that true. I'm not saying I could have written these pages, but
you got a lot of Bob in you, especially when it comes to the dating aspect.
I think so.
And we all have our parents in ourselves, and even though we try to reject it, we say we criticize our parents, we make assumptions about why they did such behavior, and then we find ourselves exhibiting the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
It's the challenge of life. It's repeated history.
What's striking here is that our dating lives are not sufficiently different from his, especially, Connor, you and me as the single guys in the room here. It's just remarkable how similar they can be.
Ultimately, we'll have to look at this book as a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to it is fun to laugh at, it's fun to see. And I think he will conclude a lesson here. There is a lesson to be taught in the book. Right now, we are in the chapters of we're in the entertainment chapters. But I think my impression is that he does wrap this up in a sort of an overall conclusion about how, men should look at dating relationships. And hopefully he heeds the advice unlike he did to Anthony.
What was his motivation for writing this book, honestly?
I think he genuinely thought this was an untapped market.
And I think it was what he probably was best at in life, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Dating. I mean, seriously, I think that's where he probably looked at it as like, hey, what do I really think that I might be better at most people than, and actually have, the ability to share. And
that's a whole different angle.
Dating is it.
Yeah.
And
that's a whole
what is
different
he probably was very proud.
Wow.
I think there was an element of he also would go out and he would see how many other guys were just inept at talking to women or getting dates, and they would very often settle at the first relationship after a divorce.
To use the words in the book, there is life after divorce.
Yeah.
So that wraps up episode 6.
Wraps it up.
Wraps up
Wingman
episode 6.
again,
Wingmanless again. Chuck and Anthony.
Anthony, if you're
And
watching
Chuck.
again, I really hope you don't have a job as a single pastor still.
Anthony,
Now, 80% of me hopes that.
Anthony, if you're out there, first off, fuck you. You caused this shit.
Anthony,
Yeah, honestly, Anthony,
I mean to say,
Anthony, you caused our dad's cancer.
It's possible.
Because he caused the stress in the dating scene, which then led to a malignant cancer that killed our father. So Anthony,
of all the things you could have told him there, you told
Anthony
him
goes,
this.
Bob, you got an 80% chance to live. you know? And then he
Bob
reversed it the
sat
next
Anthony
time.
down and goes, I've been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And Anthony goes, 80% good, brother. 80% good. Shout out to Lee Lee is now
40-something.
in her 40s. Lee,
Yeah.
we'd love to hear from you.
And guys, thanks again for listeing to From Lust to Dust, my
horny
horny
dead
dead
dad. All righty.
From lust to dust.
Next time on From Lust to Dust.
He's at a strip club. His kids are either at home or with his ex-wife. Instead of being like, this is kind of dark, he's going, what a night I've had.
He goes, I can't believe I haven't been doing this every night
Yeah.
for the past.
This ain't married.